Something that was quite key was that I wanted people to experience the city from a different angle. So the idea is that you sort of lean back and look up, and maybe you spot something that you didn't before. And it's kind of finding those like small bits of joy in the city. And I think that's maybe what's so good about this competition and about the brief. It's about bringing a bit of joy to some otherwise just passing places and finding some new experiences there.
Earlier this year, the LFA launched the 4th edition of the City Ventures competition, a design competition in collaboration with Cheapside Business Alliance and Aldgate Connect Bid. The competition looked to transform Cheapside and Aldgate streetscape with imaginative and witty takes on much-needed public seating. We caught up with each of the winning designers to find out the story behind the benches. Here, Lisa tells us about her bench, Plant Yourself Here.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and this is my design for one of the London Festival of Architecture's city benches. I've been working in collaboration with Richard Mayer from Mahers Model Makers, and together we've designed this fun break in the city for people and children and families to enjoy over the summer. The sort of concept behind the bench was quite simple in a way. I really wanted to create something quite lighthearted, a bit of a break from what's been quite an intense year, I think, for everyone with COVID and not being able to get out and not being able to enjoy the city and feel comfortable in our surroundings. So in the light of that, when I was designing this bench, I wanted it to be a sort of simple, hopefully beautiful form that people could kind of relax on, maybe play around on, and just kind of take a moment to sit, to look up, to enjoy being out and about again, to enjoy being in the city. In a way, COVID's been quite an interesting kind of design parameter, because normally benches are quite sociable and you sort of want people to share that experience, to be side by side or looking at each other. So I think part of this design is actually to allow separate groups of people to share an experience without being too close together. So that's why there are multiple benches rather than just the one, to hopefully allow people to kind of have a visual connection but make it COVID safe at the same time. I think a bench is normally something that's quite one directional in a way. It's often facing one way, attached usually to its surroundings, and often not really directed at anything, even though it is by its nature directed at something. So I think what I wanted to do with this was actually to face the two together, to have a conversation between two objects, so that as well as them having a direction which is kind of at each other, it's also looking up. Something that was quite key was that I wanted people to experience the city from a different angle. So the idea is that you sort of lean back and look up, and maybe you spot something that you didn't before. And it's kind of finding those like small bits of joy in the city. And I think that's maybe what's so good about this competition and about the brief. It's about bringing a bit of joy to some otherwise just passing places and finding some new experiences there. The materials are, as much as possible, all natural. That was a key consideration. I wanted them to be tactile. I wanted them to be soft, so that children can play and it's not fragile. It doesn't have any kind of bits where you can put your fingers. So there was a kind of practical element to it, that I wanted it to be something that was a solid form, that was kind of smooth and playful and child friendly. So the choice of cork was because it's a natural material, it's sustainable, it's very flexible and quite durable as well, and suitable for being outside. You can paint it. So I thought this was quite an appropriate choice of something that kind of ticked all the boxes. I also haven't worked with cork before, but it's been something that I've always been interested in doing. And I think being able to kind of mold something to a form gives you a lot of flexibility to create something that's sort of a bit more natural feeling in its form as well as in its material choices. And I think that also kind of works with the planted element of the bench. The frame is made of timber, and then cork as a kind of cladded layer all kind of brings together this idea of something that's natural and as sustainable as possible, really. The process was really back and forth between myself as the designer and the architect and Richard from Mahers Model Makers, who's been absolutely amazing at helping me to construct this. And he's got a bit more experience with building kind of smaller scale works, because my practice experience is more actual buildings and architecture, really. So it's been great to work with him and sort of understand how to work with this new material and actually form it kind of with the timber and what's possible with both those materials. And then obviously there's the ballast element of it, because the design is such that it looks like it could kind of rock over, and I think that's kind of the fun of it. That's the point. It's meant to be a kind of, reclining shape, but obviously we don't want it to actually fall over. So making sure that it's weighted appropriately has been quite key into the success of it. So that's been something that we've been working through as well. It's been really great working on a project like this, which is so kind of fast-paced and such an immediate kind of response. I think that the process from conception to completion is only a matter of a few months, really. It's involved a lot of work myself, and that's great. It's a great experience. It's great to kind of get hands-on and take a break from sort of normal architecture work, which is quite, time-consuming, and you often wait years to see something actually built. So this has been really rewarding.
You've been listening to Building Sounds. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to hear more of our recent conversation, search for Building Sounds on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favourite podcast.